Yo, what's up everybody, it's your boy Elvious Void coming back with another video on the channel, which is what if Naruto was Tengen Uzui's reincarnation, part 3. So, before we actually get into this, I would like to say that I made a Discord, which will be linked in the description of this video. So if you guys want to get in touch with me through, Discord and give, your recommendations or just talk in the community of this channel, then do hit that, the link in the description for the Discord server. So yeah, without further ado, let's just get right into this video. In the last part of this what if, Naruto had been fully trained in all the ninja arts as well as completing his breathing techniques, that being sound breathing, as well as, the other parts of breathing, which would be the total concentration breathing, in which Naruto would be able to fully do this all the time, being able to always breathe in a perfect condition every single time he breathes, basically. As well as Naruto graduating the final Genin test with Team 7, completing it, getting the 2 bells, as well as Semi working together, which would align with Kakashi's willingness to pass the team, as he only wanted to pass the team if they used teamwork, in which they did. Without further ado, let's just get right into this what if. Now that Naruto has passed the Genin test and has become an official Genin now, he would go on the usual D-rank missions given to him by the 3rd Hokage for their regular D-rank missions of what Genin would usually do. With Naruto as well as Hinata getting along exceptionally well in the team, Sasuke would have to deal with their constant, attitude towards each other, as well as Kakashi, who seems to realize that this is something coming out of his Itchy Paradise book that he's been reading, finding these similarities between Naruto as well as Hinata, who seems to be the female lead in the book, always giggling and blushing to himself through his mask, not telling anybody what he's reading. But Naruto has a faint idea, as he has seen that book around a few times, saying that it is very flamboyant of Kakashi to be reading that, with Hinata and Sasuke not knowing what the contents of the book actually are. With Naruto and Team 7 continuing to go on their D-rank missions, Naruto would get very bored of this, saying that this isn't flamboyant and isn't exciting whatsoever. It would make an appeal to the 3rd Hokage, saying that his skills as a ninja aren't being basically used properly and could be done using in higher rank missions. Naruto would plead with the 3rd Hokage, asking if they can go on a C-rank mission, as all the D-rank missions are extremely boring and aren't flamboyant for his needs. With the 3rd Hokage knowing that Naruto is exceptionally strong, as well as Kakashi also being there, he would decide to assign Team 7 with a C-rank mission, bringing in Tazuna into the building, or into the room. Tazuna, who is extremely drunk and intoxicated, would start to mouth off to the Genin team that he was assigned to, mainly Sasuke, but before he could get to Hinata, he would yell at the old man, telling him that this isn't flamboyant and his attitude is very horrendous and not, appealing whatsoever. He would start to, instead of, Tazuna berating the team, Naruto would go on a backlash towards Tazuna, saying that he looks extremely ugly and could do a makeover if he wished, as also saying that his facial structure is very hideous and he might want to cover it up. With Tazuna, who is extremely pissed off of this, as well as being drunk, he would try to mouth off back to Naruto, but Naruto would yell, saying that he's too flamboyant to be speaking to Tazuna, and that he needs to get his attitude in order for him to be guiding this guy back to the Land of Waves, after getting the information back from the 3rd Hokage about the mission, what the mission's pretense actually are. With Tazuna not really having a comeback to anything Naruto is saying, Kakashi would agree to do this mission, saying that it should be a good starting mission for the team of Genins, that being, a C rank, even though they haven't fulfilled the amount of D rank missions they're supposed to be, they're supposed to fulfill before going on a C rank mission. But knowing of Naruto's, as well as Sasuke's and Hinata's skill so far, that being Hinata with extreme taijutsu, and Sasuke with his ninjutsu, and Naruto being an overall type of character who is extremely well off with his taijutsu as well as his kenjutsu, and a few type of ninjutsu that he has, that being sound-based ninjutsu. With them all agreeing to go on the mission, Naruto, who's still not finding this entire mission too flamboyant for himself, but still agrees to go on it as he wants to get more missions and see if there are any harder missions out there once he completes this mission. With that pretty much being ended, Naruto and Team 7 would all walk out the building and would be told by Kakashi that the next morning they'll all go off on the mission and to get a good night rest as well as pack for the weeks or the couple of days that the mission will be going on for. With the day ending, Naruto would ask out Hinata, telling her that if he wants to go to get ramen with himself, in which she would agree, slightly blushing at this. With Naruto grabbing Hinata's hand, they would go off, and while they're walking to the stand, they would be met with Ino and also her team, and again, they would go off on a type of double date, with Hinata and Ino constantly bickering with each other, trying to get Naruto's attention, but Naruto finding this entire situation very flamboyant. With that pretty much being the end of it, they would all go home, Naruto deciding to continue a bit of training before going to bed, as he hasn't done a lot of it that day, and would get a good night's rest that night. With the next day coming around, as the sun comes up, Naruto would go off to the predetermined destination that Kakashi had told them the day before, and would be met with Sasuke, who had gotten there early, as well as Kakashi and Tazuna, who had been waiting for him, with him, basically just Naruto just waiting for him, with Hinata coming around, getting nearly at the exact same time as Naruto, nearly, stalkerish, as Hinata kind of is a stalker, and they would all meet. Basically Naruto and Hinata would meet at the same time, coming to where the destination is, that being the entrance to the village, or Konoha's gates. With Kakashi signing all the team out of the village to go on the mission, they would all head out, and a few hours later on the trip, they would run into a puddle. With Naruto, who isn't too focused on everything, but Kakashi is, Kakashi would still have the same plan in the original. With the two demon brothers jumping out of the puddle, they would try to attack Hinata, seeing that she might be the most vulnerable in the team. Naruto would see this in a split second, who had heard the exact second that the demon brothers had jumped out of the water. Basically hearing the splash and the ripples of the water, Naruto would immediately withdraw his two Nichiren his Nichiren cleavers, and would use the first form, Raw, and would immediately twist his two swords above his head, and would immediately slam down on the two brothers, chopping, or not really chopping, but severely cutting the two on their torso, letting them bleed out quite a bit before Kakashi could, go and fake die, so to speak. Kakashi would perform first aid on the two brothers, seeing if they can try to get as much information from them as possible. With Kakashi telling Naruto that he did a good job, kind of sensing or hearing where these two are and taking immediate action to save his teammates. He would congratulate Naruto, with Tazuna seeing that Naruto seems to be exceptionally skilled with the blades and could definitely kill him in a second if he actually wanted to, and kind of regrets his actions in the Hokage monument, the Hokage tower, seeing that he was pretty intoxicated during the entire mishap. With Kakashi, who is now unmasked and seeing who the demon brothers are, he would tell him that they are high-ranking tunings of, I think it's the blood mission, what is it, the demon blood village, I think that's how you say it. I would note that this is definitely not a C-rank mission to guide Tazuna back to the Land of Waves, with Naruto pressing with Kakashi pressing the information out of Tazuna. Tazuna would break, explaining about his village and the exact situation they are in, telling them of Gato and how Gato is extorting the village and won't let him continue building the bridge to outsource their products as well as getting income to the Land of Waves, and that Tazuna has basically taken over the entire place and has hired different assassins to, take care of him. With Naruto immediately still got a smile on his face, he would tell Tazuna that what he's doing is extremely unflamboyant, but as well as being, kind of flamboyant in a way, as he's trying to build a bridge to help everybody in his village, or I think it's a country, honestly. With Naruto saying that they should continue the mission as it would be an extremely flashy mark on his record as a ninja, completing a higher rank mission than what it originally planned was. He would immediately agree to continue the mission, saying that this type of attitude to continue the mission is extremely flamboyant. With Hinata, who was also agreeing, pointing her fingers, against one another, she would say that it is their duty to continue the mission to save as many innocent people as possible. With Sasuke, who also wants to continue the mission, Kakashi would be outmarked in terms of, how many people want to continue and how many people want to go back to the village, with Tazuna immediately thanking the team to continue the mission. With Kakashi, who has no other choice, he would decide to continue the mission, and they would all continue walking, going to the where the ocean is, or the river, and would hop on the boat, in which Tazuna would explain that they're going to his house, where he has his daughter and grandson living there. With the team going over the little ocean and docking on the other side, they will be meted by a giant sword slashing towards the team. With Naruto hearing the twirling and the air type of rippling from the blade, he would immediately tell everyone to duck and someone to bring Tazuna down to the ground, or he's going to get cut. With immediately Naruto using his first form, Raw, to slam down on the ground to create enough air pressure as well as the rocks and debris to kind of offset where the blade is going to be going, which is towards their general area. With Naruto slamming the ground, the air pressure would push up and kind of push Zabuza's blade into a different direction, slamming it into a different tree away from the team. With the team now getting up, Kakashi would immediately reveal his Sharingan away from his head, because he recognizes the blade that was shot towards them. In a split second, Tazuna would appear on the sword that he threw that was now lodged into the tree, with Zabuza saying that that was an incredible skill that Naruto just displayed towards him. He would congratulate Naruto for his outstanding skills in swordsmanship, but would start to tell him that this will be the last day that he lives, as he's coming to kill the bridge builder, and if he still wants to live, to hand over the bridge builder to him, as is a part of his mission given to him by Gato. With Kakashi, who steps in front of Naruto, telling him to get back and protect the bridge builder, Naruto wouldn't comply with this, telling him that it isn't flamboyant of him to retreat from someone, and instead would dash towards Zabuza, starting to clash with him, with Zabuza taking his sword out of the tree and fighting Naruto on a 1v1 before Kakashi could come into the playing field. With Naruto using the fourth form, which is String Performance, Naruto would hold his swords in a reverse grip and would continue to spin around, using the chains that are connected to the two swords to slash around the place, deflecting Zabuza's sword, as well as trying to get as many shots on Zabuza as possible. With Naruto, as well as coping with this, releasing numerous bombs that will detonate towards Zabuza, blowing and distorting him to some degree. With Naruto, who is using his enhanced hearing, which he would use musical score to kind of predict all the movements and the areas that Zabuza's sword would go and try to cut him, using the, if you've watched Demon Slayer in the, one of the recent episodes where Tengen uses musical score, you can know what I'm talking about. With Naruto basically being able to predict the flow of Zabuza's sword, he could immediately deflect it and kind of unravel and analyze the combat maneuvers and stuff that he can use to kind of get out of the way of the strikes. With Naruto doing this, he would have a kind of equal standing with Zabuza right now, using his fourth form. Before Kakashi could come into the fight, it would, like I said, it would be kind of equal. But when Kakashi comes in, Kakashi would immediately use the Chidori and try to pierce Zabuza, which would get him in the leg, kind of crippling Zabuza in a way, as he is now on a 1v2 situation with two extremely proficient users in martial arts, as well as taijutsu and kenjutsu, something that he is a very adept in. With Zabuza now realizing that he is definitely going to lose this battle, as just the one-on-one with the kid was hard enough, but now we've got a seasoned Jonin. It is going to be an extreme struggle for him to get out of this situation. But before he can make any other moves, while he's, sitting down on his, his ass, a masked Anbu member would throw Senbon into him, stopping his heart, as well as putting it on the pressure points to kind of make it look like Zabuza is dead. With the Anbu member coming down to the ground, he'd immediately tell the two ninja to stop where they are, and that he is a Anbu member from the Blood Mist village, and would tell him that he needs to dispose of the body, and that this is a Blood Mist village type of affair. With Kakashi, who knows everything knows everything about what Anbu members does, he would agree to let him take Zabuza away. With Zabuza being taken away, Naruto would start to wonder what just happened and who that person was. Kakashi would start to explain before he kind of passes out, as just using one Chidori and conjunction with his Sharingan completely wore him out, as during the pre-time skip of Naruto, Kakashi was extremely weak in that type of area of his amount of chakra that he had. With Kakashi saying that was an Anbu member, while he's on the floor, kind of tired out, he would try to explain it as much as possible before asking Naruto if he can help carry him to Tazuna's house. With Naruto agreeing, he would take Kakashi, putting him on his shoulder and carrying him to Tazuna's house, in which they would be greeted by Tazuna's daughter as well as Tazuna's grandson, Inari. Sorry. With Inari, who's sitting down at the table as it is starting to get dark, they would sit down to have dinner, in which Tazuna's daughter, I think it's called like Tsunami or something like that, would tell the ninjas there that how she's so grateful for them to be protecting her father from Gato and his men. With Naruto immediately yelling out with a massive smile on his face, saying that it's their job and it's just flamboyant of them to do so, and if it is flamboyant, he'll be doing it. With Naruto, who's also smiling and, kind of hitting on Gato's daughter, she would, it wouldn't really go well for Naruto, as Naruto's 13 and she's like, 40 or something like that. But Naruto's still laying on the moves, which would be noticed by Kakashi as well as Hinata and Sasuke, but not Inari. He is a child. He's 8. Anyway, with that pretty much being done, the next day would come around, in which Naruto, as well as Team 7, would go outside as Kakashi wants to teach them something, that being chakra control. Naruto would explain to Kakashi that he already knows everything about chakra control, and Hinata would also agree with this, as her clan or father would have taught her a lot of chakra control exercises, as she was the heiress to the clan. With Sasuke being the only one who hasn't really learnt chakra control exercises, as his family is 6 feet under. He would try to learn as much as he can from Kakashi. Kakashi taking on a much more adept role in training Sasuke, as the other two have learned tree walking and they've gone off to practice water walking, as Naruto already has completed this, but Hinata hasn't, and he wants to try teach her how to completely walk on water and would train her as such. With a few hours going by, Hinata would have been able to slightly walk on water, not being able to stay in it for long periods of time, and Sasuke would have been able to climb up the tree, now with relative ease, being able to walk up the tree all the way to the top without any difficulty. With that day pretty much being finished, Naruto at night would walk outside and decide to train by himself, as he doesn't want to train with other people, as he wants to keep his moves kind of secret for now, for when he can show them in a much more flamboyant and flashy way. With Naruto, who is now lying down after a very intense training, he would hear footsteps walking towards him, and that he would open his eyes and see that it seems to be an extremely good looking girl. But after further knowledge of looking at him, he would realize that it is a guy, as the facial structure does look pretty feminine, but he does have the body type of a male. With Naruto asking what they're doing here and why they're out here so late, Haku would explain that she's looking for flowers or type of plants as a healing for healing purposes, as someone that is very dear to her is injured and needs to be healed. With Naruto explaining that there shouldn't be any type of plants that should heal something serious, like she's implying out here, he would point to a different direction than where he is, and would tell him that those type of plants would probably be down further in the forest, and would tell him to be careful when going down there, as it is getting pretty late and he doesn't know what's actually out in the forest right now. With Haku saying thank you, Naruto would go off back to the house, as he's realizing it's getting a bit late. We're gonna have a 1-day time skip, as nothing would really happen in the next day, as like in the original, was kind of just training. So we'll just skip the next day, and in the morning, Naruto as well as all Team 7 members would go down to the dock. Actually, our minus Naruto would stay back at the household, as he would have still slept in, as his training from the day prior would have really drained him out of his energy, and he would need to relax for a bit longer in bed. With the rest of Team 7, Hinata and Sasuke and Kakashi going off to help in the bridge building, as well as protecting the bridge builder if any of Gato's men would have come and kind of interrupted the building. But as we know what happened in the original, Zabuza as well as Haku would have come into the bridge to try and get rid of Kakashi and the rest of the Genin members. With Sasuke in the bridge incident, fighting off Haku as well as Hinata, who would have been able to protect Zabuza in a much better way than Sakura would have ever been able to do, using different Hyuga taijutsu methods to help and destroy some of the ice projectiles that Haku was shooting at them using her ice release. With Naruto waking up to a sudden noise in the house, hearing the door being broken and Tazuna's daughter screaming, he would immediately jump out of bed and flash down the stairs in a very explosive movements, and would see that there are 3 men trying to get Tazuna's daughter. With immediately, Naruto realizes he doesn't have his 2 cleavers on him, and would just flash towards where the 2 men are and punch them extremely hard in the face, sending a massive sound. Oh, what's it called? He would kind of break the sound barrier just with his punch alone, which would immediately kill the guy that he punched in the face, as well as sending the other 2 flying back out the door where they came from, destroying it, as well as some of the other parts of the house, as they would have, destroyed, a lot of it being thrown out or kind of broken out of the building. With those two men being knocked out as well, the one would be very unlucky as he died the moment Naruto's fist hit his face. With Tazuna's daughter as well as Inari seeing this, Naruto would immediately ask if they're okay and apologize for being a bit late and having those three men scare them. With Inari telling Naruto, or kind of thanking him for saving them, Naruto would immediately realize that if Gato is trying to take care of Tazuna's daughter and grandson, that he's probably by the bridge right now, and immediately grab his two cleavers and rush off to the bridge where he knows, where it is, as he would have seen it before. With Naruto, who has now reached the area which the fighting is going on, he would see Kakashi, who has his Sharingan activated, fighting with Zabuza, and would also see Sasuke struggling to fight with Haku. With Naruto seeing this, he would immediately unsheath his two Nichiren cleavers and rush off to battle with Haku. With Haku still going in her mirrors, Naruto would go in the frenzy with Sasuke and help him using his fourth form, string performance, and in conjunction with his musical score, he would see the trajectory and try to analyze how the ice is being made and how Haku is going in between the mirrors, and would try to use that's kind of like the Sharingan method to predict where everything's happening. But because Sasuke also worked in his Sharingan before, they are kind of on not an even stance, but Naruto is kind of carrying the defense of Sasuke, saving him a couple of times, with Sasuke as well trying to use his fire style on the mirrors, with not much to prevail, as Haku's mirrors are extremely durable. With Naruto, who is using his fourth form constantly with his constant resounding slashes. So yeah, the fourth form, I can't remember, I don't know why I said that. But using his two blades, he would completely annihilate all the ice shards that are being sent towards him, all the type of Senbu ice shards that are being sent to them, and would start to chip off on the mirrors around them. With Naruto chipping off all the mirrors, Haku would actually start to try harder now, as she realized that Naruto is extremely strong, as during the fight with Zabuza, Zabuza and him were kind of on equal terms. And with Naruto using now his fourth form, constant resounding slashes, Naruto would start to chip off and shatter the mirrors, sending Haku out of the mirrors and onto the floor, skidding back near the end of the bridge. With Naruto now speed blitzing towards her, he would try to slash as many slashes, on him as possible, and would cut his mask off of her face, revealing Haku, the boy that he met 2 nights prior to when this is actually happening. With Naruto seeing this, he wouldn't have the same attitude towards him as he had in the original, as he didn't have a deep type of connection or a deep talk in the forest. Instead, Naruto just guiding him to where he thought the plants for healing are. With Naruto not seeing anything more important than this, he would immediately continue to fight him, continuing to use his fourth form, constant resounding slashes, and would constantly release bombs which would create massive explosions which would destroy a lot of the type of ice shards that he is sending Naruto. And in a stroke of luck, Naruto would chop off one of Haku's arms, leaving him on the ground, screaming out in pain as the blood is now gushing out of his arm. With Haku, who is now in pain, he would turn over to see Zabuza, who is also about to be impaled by Kakashi. She would have to watch in horror as Kakashi stabs Zabuza through the heart, killing him, and before Haku could do anything else and try to react, Naruto has stabbed him through the heart, killing Haku in that moment. With Haku and Zabuza now being dead, Gato would now come out of the shadows and reveal himself with his army of, I think it's like 50 men that he had. With Naruto seeing this, he would get a little annoyed that more people are coming, as hiding in the shadows isn't very flamboyant. He would yell at Gato, saying to get out of here, and that what he's doing isn't flamboyant at all, and it isn't flashy, instead being extremely bothersome and annoying. With Kakashi being extremely, exhausted, and Sasuke being in fine health as well as Hinata, Naruto would also be in fine health, not being injured in any way, except for a few cuts that would have appeared from Haku's ice release slashes. It would be up to him to deal with Gato and his men. With Kakashi now passing out from chakra exhaustion after using the Chidori so many times, as well as his Sharingan, he would have passed out, leaving Naruto to deal with the 50 odd men that Gato had paid off to kill these children and Kakashi. With Naruto, who sees this entire situation as bothersome, he'd immediately rush towards the men, not listening to any of their screams, using his fourth form, constant resounding slashes, slashing the men up, pretty much killing every single person there. Before he gets to Gato, Gato would start to scream and run from Naruto, bumping into the villagers as Inari has gathered them all. The villagers would start to surround Gato and beat him to death. With Gato now being dead, and the villagers seeing that Naruto has saved them, just kind of getting rid of Gato and basically handing him to them, they would name and finish the bridge after Naruto, naming it the Great Naruto Bridge. With Naruto and Team 7 now being fully healed, mainly Kakashi, they would head back to the village. That's where I'm going to leave it off, guys. I hope you guys enjoyed this part. If you guys did like this, please hit that like button, as I need to know if you guys really want this series to continue. I'm going to set a like goal of 60 likes to continue this series. So yeah, please hit that like button and the subscribe button. I'll see you guys later.